Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. In this video we're going to be covering my top 10 most nostalgic places in Runescape. For footage I will be using Runescape 3 footage just because of the 3 cam and the nice visuals, but do keep in mind these places were nostalgic to me because I used to go there or do things back in the day. I will also be playing my favorite song from that area for each of the places. So, grab yourself your cup of tea, sit back and enjoy. Number 10. Draenor. More specifically, the Draenor Menorah. Now I'm sure many of you guys have visited this place back in the day, as you need to go there for the Vampire Slayer quest. When I first came here I believe I was 6 years old, and I was very scared of that tree at the entrance that kept attacking you if you walked past it. Inside the Draenor Menorah, that feeling didn't go away. You still had that dark feeling when you were inside. At least I did when I was a kid back in the day. Now back in the day, during the Vampire Slayer quest, I actually died a few times at this vampire and lost all my items. That's because I didn't have the required items like the steak or the onions to kill the vampire efficiently, because he would always end up at 1 HP staying alive. In fact, I never finished the quest back in the day and only finished it in EOC. Strange, huh? I also remember killing the skeleton for experience inside the Draenor Menorah. And how could I forget the walking chairs, probably the most noticeable or standing out thing in the Draenor Menorah. They would follow you around everywhere you would go. At number 9 we have the Wizard's Tower. Now it looks nothing like its former self from back in the day. It has completely changed in RuneScape 3, but I do remember always killing the blue wizards inside for their runes and armor or wizard robes. And of course training on the lesser demon on the first floor for magic experience. I will probably never forget this Wizard's Tower, as I died so many times in this tower. At number 8 we have Falador. Now I always thought Falador was one of the most good looking cities in RuneScape. Now I do have very few fond memories of this place, except for the fact that I always used to kill the White Knights, thinking I would be getting that rare, cool looking members armor called White Armor. But in free to play that never happened. Oh yeah, and that highwayman on the way to Falador from the Barbarian Village and Varrock that would always attack you. I'd always try to kill him, and I get this cape, this purple cape, which was probably one of the best looking capes I ever had. Yeah, that cape was cool. And probably the most nostalgic place in Falador, the Falador party room, where I'd always get hyped when something expensive was put in the chest and I'd start popping balloons and the White Knights were dancing on the tables, but I'd never get anything. Until one point where I got a rune full helm and I absolutely spazzed out. Number 7. Varrock. Now Varrock was definitely one of my favorite cities in RuneScape. I remember selling my items to people spamming messages to sell their items even when the Grand Exchange was released, killing the guards with friends and my older brother for grapes to get money to buy Gothics, which in my opinion used to be the best armor in the game. So cool, stuff like that. Dying against the Dark Wizards. Yes, that happened to all of us, unless you've never really played RuneScape. Mining iron ore and bringing it to the Varrock bank to make money for, again, Guthic's armor. The wilderness where I PK'd and lost so much items, but then again got so much items as well. Where I looted food to sell, looted stuff on the floor. The Varrock sewers where I trained up my stats. Oh, and those tough moss giants, I always killed them with 2 friends because I couldn't take them down alone. Oh man. Number 6. Allcarry. I always used to kill the guards, as you see on screen, because I wanted combat experience and a bit of money, but they always were super tough until I got full steel and a mithril scimitar. I remember making friends at this area, because there were so many other people training on the guards. I definitely wasn't the only one, and I hope you guys watching the video remember training on these as well, because I think at least a few of you have. Now an area close to Allcarry, the Allcarry mine, was even more nostalgic to me, and still is. just because of that song you hear now, Arabic 2. Now I always used to mine here for coal and iron. I remember making a plan to mine a few thousand of each to get myself enough money to get full Saradomin, probably the most expensive full trimmed armor set at the time. Or that might have been Samarak, I'm not sure. I actually remember getting my kite shield after what felt like an eternity of mining, but then later lost it in the wilderness. Ouch. Number 5. If you don't recognize this song, well, then you haven't played RuneScape back in the day, I'm sure. I remember picking bananas in Karamja and using them to train up my combat stats as food. I also remember going back and selling them on the Grand Exchange. I also remember my brother and myself fishing here for lobsters to gain a bit more money. And he usually kept on fishing, but what I did is I wanted to train up my combat stats, so I went inside the volcano to kill some skeletons. I remember looking at the higher levels killing the lesser demons, being like, wow, they must be high level and so strong. This is also the place where we all finished Dragon Slayer or didn't finish Dragon Slayer and died against Alvarg the dragon. Now personally, I was too weak to finish the dragon, and I always wore a rune chain body around RuneScape, but my brother did and he wore a rune plate body, and that made him just a bit more cool. Number 4. Lumbridge. This is probably the most obvious one on the list. The 10 GP Allcarry gate, which is no longer there in RuneScape 3. We all killed some goblins to get that cash to enter the gates to the Allcarry desert. The cow fields where everyone pretty much killed cows for the cow hides to sell on the Grand Exchange. I remember doing this as pretty much my first money making method in the game ever. The same goes for the chickens we all trained on and picked up the feathers to use for fishing or to sell on the Grand Exchange. The place we all used to fish shrimp at in the Lumbridge swamp. The mining area we all mined tin and copper at to make our own bronze bars. Lumbridge has it all, so many nostalgic memories never to be forgotten. Number 3. The Barbarian Village and the Stronghold of Security where we all received our rainbow boots. I remember my brother fishing here for trout and salmon, and he would drop them and I would pick them up and bring them to the Varrock bank. I also remember being scared of that big barbarian in the Great Hall of the Barbarian Village with a big two-handed sword. I believe his name was Gunthor the Brave. The Stronghold of Security. I used to train my range at the Minotaurs or Minotaurs, and I'd always receive iron arrows and use those for clan wars. This is the area where we've all been to get the rainbow boots, but also the other chest rewards that would give you coins, and not a small amount either. Now actually back in the day, it was quite challenging to get to the final chest for the rainbow boots, as the higher level monsters would absolutely destroy you if you were a lower level player. But eventually I got through, and just like everybody else, I finally had those rainbow boots. Fashionscape. Number 2. Clan Wars. Without a doubt, the minigame where I put the most amount of time in, made the most friends, and have the most nostalgic memories from in the game. But still, I do have to put it at number 2. You'll see why when you see number 1. Now in terms of nostalgia, I mainly mean pre-EOC, Big Wars, White Portal being extremely active, but also EOC. Because in 2014 and 15 it was still pretty active, and World 3 is still alive today. But old worlds like World 1 for 1, World 1 when it was still free to play, World 19, 80, 20 are now all dead. The maps were so well curated, the minigame was so much fun. Big scale battles, people fighting, I was always the lower level one. And once I had a high level person in my clan or friends chat for the wars, I would be so happy and feel so powerful with like a level 105 with 99 defense on my team, because he could easily take out 4 level 60s on his own. People were always chatting in the jail cells once they died in the original Clan Wars map, as seen on screen, and the soundtrack is one of the most memorable and fantastic pieces of music ever to be created. Have a listen to my favorite part of the Clan Wars soundtrack. And at number 1, it had to be the tutorial island. Now I'm sorry about the RuneScape free footage, but it just looked better that way. We all started out here. You chopped your first log, you fished your first shrimp, you cooked your first shrimp, you killed your first rats. Wow, this place has to be number 1 on this list. The most nostalgic area in RuneScape. And everyone, hundreds of thousands of people, have fond memories of this place. Now personally, I'm always interested in someone else's nostalgic story or the most nostalgic area they believe is the most nostalgic. Well, I'm using nostalgic way too much. But yeah, I'd love to read your stories down in the comments below. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below and maybe even consider subscribing. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
When you're feeling down on your luck, you're tired and stuck, enough is enough. You gotta pick yourself up, cause life gets hard, it might leave scars.